Time for an arm day. Time for a freaking arm day. Classic. A staple, right? Um, well, I don't know, maybe not. A lot of people splits when they do push-pull legs. They don't have a dedicated arm day. I'm not necessarily sure I would prefer that. Like for me, what kind of pushes me away from doing like chest and tries and then back and buys is really just because of the back and buys part. Like when I do chest and tries, that's a perfectly good workout, right? I finish chest hard, and then by the time I move on to triceps, they've got a little bit of activation, but they're not really like sore. They haven't really been worked. So chest and tries, I love it, but back and buys, I just can't seem to get a. It just doesn't work for me. Because if I do back first, and then try to do a bunch of curls afterwards, the pump's just not there. It's not the same. Right? I'm just feeling kind of because there's a difference between like if I do a bunch of work on my biceps manually, like heavy curls, mainly heavy curls, right? And they get tired towards the end of the lift, like that's a good sensation. But when I start doing curls after back, I just kind of feel like a weakness. I'm like, this sucks. The pump's not there. And for me, I mean, I pretty much say the pump's a pretty good indicator of whether or not you had a good lift. So I like just doing a dedicated arm day. So basic idea, once this construction traffic chills out, is I'm going to start off with a variety of push downs. Probably going to jump between a bar, a rope, some single arm stuff, some machine dips, and I mean that's pretty much it. I don't really mess with skull crushers. It just kind of hard on the elbows. And then if I do them later in the workout, when when I'm a bit weaker and I won't need that much weight, I feel like I'm not really getting a good squeeze either. So it's kind of it's like if I'm gonna do them, I want to do them kind of early, so I can put some weight up, but not so early that I'm like having to wrench my elbows by going so heavy. Uh, let's try not to crash here. I was about to say something. I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, so I do. So there have been some comments about doing overhead tricep extensions. Now I love them, but that's with a little bit of a caveat because for me, I can't really do them with a dumbbell. Like when you do one arm, you kind of put your palms on the underside of it on the inside, and you're going behind the neck. It just doesn't really work out for me. Uh, like my shoulders are just too tight. Well, maybe that's just deciding I should work on my mobility so I can do those more often. But I do love doing them with like a V handle with a cable, but it kind of requires some setup to, get it started at this gym, and I'm in a little bit of a time crunch. So, not going to do it this time. But in the coming lifts, that's definitely something I'm working on just because the stretch that you get doing an overhead extension, like on the long head, can't really be felt on any other sort of push down. At least none that I know how to do. So this lift probably won't take me that long. I think after I get in there and kind of, for me, I've got a little bit of, what's the word? I've been given some advice to spend a bit longer on the warm up on triceps, but I just do a couple of push downs and I feel kind of ready. But the warm up, it shouldn't take me more than 10 minutes, just kind of fucking around with the cables, making sure my elbows are warm, my forearms have some stuff going on. And triceps will probably be done in like 30 minutes. Same with buys. So arms, it's kind of a smaller muscle, right? So even though I'm doing, 22 total sets, right? 11 for triceps, 11 for biceps. I can finish it quicker than on a leg day, right? Because leg day, same amount of sets, right? 22, 11 for hamstrings, 11 for quads. But those sets are going to be a bit more intense. I'm going to have to take a little while to you know, get my breath back in between. So arms, no need to be in here for more than an hour and a half. So let's quit yapping and just get started. Basic plan, like I said, kind of going quick. Just regular push downs with the stack. Make sure to squeeze it really hard at the bottom. Try to pull the bar apart and get a good stretch on top. I'll sit here for probably a few at least. Oh. All right, let's move on to the dip machine. A little less than a whole stack. I want to do a set where I can actually like manually flex at the bottom. I mean, sure, I could throw the whole stack around, but I wouldn't be able to do the reps so intentionally, if you get what I'm saying. But probably two here. Right? Try to get up as deep as possible without activating your chest, and then flex at the bottom, right? Even though this is a completely different movement than the push downs that I was just doing, the basic logic of hitting the tricep is the same. All I'm doing is moving my arm from a bent position to a straightened position with load. Now, rather than, doing it right here in front of me, it's kind of a little bit stranger path, but it's the same shit. Oh, oh yeah. All right, triceps are fucking fully pumped. Let's get some kind of curl started. Not sure what. So I curl the 30s to 55s. For me, biceps don't really need that much warm up. My forearms have been worked with all the push downs, and my shoulders are pretty much warm. So just getting a little bit of exposure to the weight, I'm ready. So I'm gonna go a little lighter than normal. So I'll just do the 70s as the opener. And see how many sets of these I want to do. That's pretty strict. One more, I think I'll drop to the 65s. Oh, fuck. Oh my god. Holy fuck. Oh fuck. So I'm not a big hammer curl fan, but let's say you burn out on a set of normal twisting curls. You can throw in a couple of hammers just for a little bit of added intensity. Let's move on to a curl machine. One, I would say, type of curl that I would recommend you hit at least, for one of your movements on a bicep workout is one where your palm is upright throughout the entire movement, right? Because when I was doing those alternating dumbbell curls, the start of the curl was here, right? Like the start was the same as with a hammer curl. So when your arm is in this position, you're curling like this. You're getting some bicep work, obviously, but you also have a lot of forearm coming into play, right? This back part of your forearm. And I mean, I'm trying to get a bicep pump, not a fucking forearm pump. I like to train the forearms directly. So doing a curl like this machine forces you to, where in the bottom position, your palm is facing upward, right? Like here, palms facing the bicep, and it doesn't rotate all the way down to the bottom. You got way more tension on the bicep throughout the whole range of motion. Like if you were to do only hammer strength, what am I talking about? Only hammer curls, I think you're just leaving bicep gains on the table. So this type of curl, I mean, you can just do standing dumbbell curls by holding the dumbbells like this. You can do easy bar, preacher, either with an easy bar or a dumbbell. Or if you have a curl machine like this, or if you want to do cable curls, same thing. But definitely worth doing one that's specifically like this. So get the whole stack. Let's just throw it around. Oh, jeez. This is starting to get heavy. You think so? He said, yeah. So a little bit more conservative today in terms of the weight. You know, I didn't slap 3 extra 45s on the stack when I was doing the push downs, and I only started curls with the 70s. I so I mean, within the realm of what I usually recommend, the 8 to 12 sets for a body part, you should feel fully pumped. Let's say for whatever reason I get to set 8 of some workout ish, like even 7, and I'm like, okay, this is just fucking, we did it, right? I feel pretty comfortable thinking to myself, all right, I stimulated some growth, we're done. Now I'm not so crazy about it as like Mike Metzer. You know, his logic is like, start with, in his mind, start with 1 set for a body part. And if that doesn't work after a few months, then move on to 2. I mean, guy was certainly ahead of his time, but I'm not sure I buy into it that much. So I'm going to keep doing my 8 to 12 and getting freaky pumps such as this. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Whew. All right, let's run through some mandatories here. Oh, that's freaky. Oh. Whew. Dude, even just flexing my arm is fucking burning. Oh, I almost forgot a front lat spread. Whew. I forget if I said it or not, but literally doing a fucking crucifix, like straightening my biceps out that much. God, they're tense. They are freaking tense. So, I mean, this pump speaks for itself. Solid ass lift. Oh, we can get some little bit of forearm veins coming out of the woodworks. So I don't really talk about forearms too much. I did do a little bit of a forearm workout. A couple of, I don't know how many ago, reasonably recent. But for me, forearms used to be trained with arms every fucking time they're in the split. So my mentality with them was, or not mentality, my method was in between every set of biceps. Now I could have just done the workout at the end. I don't know why I did it like this, but basically I would do a set of curls and then I would sit down on like a bench or a little exercise block I had set up, and it would have 2 dumbbells. It would have a 15 or a 20 and a 50. And what I would do is I'd sit down, and for this back part of the forearm, the part that gets worked when you do this, right? I'd hang my hand off the edge of the bench, holding the 50, and just sit here like this, pumping it out, 20 reps, you know, ish, something like that. And then for the back, right, this fancy stuff that comes out when you're wobbling your fingers, that's just grabbing the really light dumbbell, sitting down, hanging it off my knee, and just going like this. Now, the back of your forearms requires very little weight, just because they're pretty weak muscles. You know, nobody grew evolutionarily. It was way more important to have a strong grip than it was to have strong finger flexion. So, you know, I don't even mind just grabbing the 10 and going really light like that. And then, especially when you start getting dieted down and you're leaner, like when you're doing curls, you can start to see some of this fancy shit coming out. And it's just cool. But if you do have small forearms, if you kind of think to yourself, okay, my forearms could use some work, same as any other muscle, if you want to grow it, train it directly. I got another comment asking about the neck routine. Now, just growing muscle, like just becoming a bigger dude, your neck's probably just going to grow. But for whatever reason, let's say you have a noticeably thin neck, right? It's pretty silly to do, but you know, you lay down on a bench, you grab a 25-pound plate, you sort of balance it on your forehead, Like, don't put the actual weight on your head, but just kind of hold it and rest your hands on your forehead and just sit here like this. I've done it kind of just as a joke, like just to see what it was like to have a neck pump before. But I mean, it works. You know, you got fucking muscles in here. I wouldn't go so crazy as to do a Mike Tyson neck workout where he's like rolling around on his head. But, you know, if you want bigger calves, if you want bigger biceps, if you want a bigger chest, you train it directly. All right, it's not new. So let's get in the car and slam the cluster dextrin shake and be done. So upon reviewing the pump check, something about my perception, it does kind of look a little different on the phone versus looking at it in real life. But that's neither here nor there. But that was a sick ass arm pump. Fucking looks super full. Everything just kind of clicked today. Now, you know, I went hard, right? Like those sets of tries were, well, I don't know. I think it's just because I'm I've still got some ego in me. Where I was just saying this yesterday. Was it? No, I was saying it chest day. I still kind of probably gauge the quality of my workout based on the amount of weight that I moved. You know, not so much when I'm dieting, because I don't give a shit about my weight or my or like the weights I'm lifting or my strength, because I know it's going to drop a little bit. But when I'm bulking up and I know I'm like my strongest, I still have that little bit in me that's like, okay, that was a heavy set. That was good. But the enlightened lifter knows he's just trying to stimulate the muscle and finish his lift with a crazy pump. And I mean, that's what fucking happened today. Heck yeah. So, cluster dextrin going down the hatch. The buy one, get one over. I'm sure something like that will come back eventually. But hopefully, if you got in on that, you're enjoying your half off cluster dextrin. But let's slam this and get the hell out of here. I gotta stop filling this shaker all the way up to the top. Big ass shake, just chugged instantly. Ooh, it's kind of hard to do. But I'd prefer that than sipping on it for the whole drive home. There you go. So plan for tomorrow is going to be legs. If this pump has anything to do with indicating how that one's going to go, then I got a sick ass leg pump in my future. In my freaking future. So yeah, like I was saying on the way in, I do want to get some more overhead stuff in for triceps. And I have done a movement here with cables, which is like, it's pretty good, but it's just kind of a hassle to set up because it's not like I can just butt up a bench to one of the cable stacks. Because if you put the bench, you know, vertical into a seated position, or like, you know, wait, the angle you would do for like shoulder press, then the cable is too far away in the back. So really what I need, or what would work better, is a shoulder press bench, right? You know how it's literally just a seat? That is perfect because you can butt that up against the cable stack, you know, throw the V bar, the W bar, whatever your handle you like using, and get some overhead tricep stuff done. I really need to throw that into the routine because I do think my triceps could use some more mass, right? Relative to everything else, when your triceps are really big, uh, just gives you a big ass freaking look, right? You do a double bicep flex, they're just hanging down off your arm. You do a lat spread, they're just poking out the side. Sick. Freaking sweet. So what else is there to freaking discuss? Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, not much. I oh my god. So last night went to Cane's, got a caniac. So I don't know how many tenders that was. I think six, and then I got three extra as well. So I just sat down on the couch, put on some Trailer Park Boys, and as soon as all that was gone, it just hit me quick. I was about to fucking fall asleep right there. So in a bulking context, calories are calories, man. All right, you need some carbs, some fats, and some proteins to grow. Now, what I do think is worth some consideration, more so than any of the others, is your protein sources, right? You're definitely not going to want to get your protein from like a soy protein powder or like a vegan protein powder. It's just not complete, right? There's all sorts of amino acids that you got to be taking in for your body to actually be able to, use them like as close to as optimally effectively, right, as possible. You know, like if you're getting like every time I look at the macros on like bread or whatever else, any food that's not really a direct protein source, and it says like 3 grams of protein per serving, I don't even fucking count that, right? 3 grams of bread protein, get the fuck out of here, right? So your proteins, probably your best bet is meats, steaks, poultry, fish, protein powder. I've been known to do a lot of protein powder. Uh, I mean, oh yeah, what am I thinking? Dairy, animal products. That's the way to go when it comes to some protein consumption. And then I'm a bit less, well, I'm a lot less strict when it comes to sourcing your carbs and fats. You know, 6 pack of Krispy Kreme, Reese's Cup protein shakes, focusing more on the Reese's Cups, not the protein. What else? Just a variety of sweets. As long as you don't eat so much calories that you're starting to gain excess body fat, right? Like obviously, if I was putting on a ton of body fat, like noticeably per week, then I would cut down on the calories, right? But I'm kind of in like for me, the amount of food that I eat compared to how hungry I am is it's almost like it's hard for me to eat so much that I put on a lot of body fat, right? And that's sort of something that's going to be different for everybody, right? So the guy who naturally, for whatever reason, has a much bigger appetite, it's going to be harder for him to stay lean, right? Like just in a like if he just eats as much food as he's hungry for every day, right? He's probably going to be more prone to have some excess body fat on him, right? Because his body fat, or no, his appetite is so high that he's eating a little bit more, or perhaps a considerable amount more than his maintenance calories, the calories he needs to eat every day just to function normally. And the guys who naturally don't have such a big appetite, it's easier for them to stay lean, right? Like they can just eat whenever they're hungry, but the amount of food they eat every day isn't so much that they're going to put on any extra body fat, right? So it comes with pros and cons in each instance. Right? The guy who naturally has an easy time eating a lot of food, right? He just doesn't get that full. He can put on some weight, right? He'll probably be more prone to get bigger, but he's going to have more trouble trying to trim down. And the guy who is like, oh, dude, I eat so much food, I just can't get any bigger, right? He's got no problem staying, 10% body fat or even less in some instances. But for him, trying to gain weight, that's where he runs into trouble. So, you know, in that sense, shit's not completely fair. Everybody's got a different set of circumstances. Well, oh, yeah. I thought that was a hawk. It was just a fucking vulture. But so that's where you've got to be able to look at your own personal circumstance, just or your own situation, and be able to apply knowledge and shit to actually accommodate yourself, right? You get what I'm trying to say here? Like some dudes just aren't going to be able to eat the same as the guy next to them if they want to get the same results. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So that's pretty much it. Plan now, go home. Would you believe it? Would you believe it if I told you that my laundry was completely done? All clean and folded? Well, all right, if I said that, I'd be lying. I've got one more load to fold. That's just one more, that's nothing. So I'll probably do that later. Get some food, take a nap, shower, take my multivitamin, fish oil, and creatine. Those are pretty much my go-to staples in terms of supplementation, apart from, your pre-workout, or my go-to staple recommendations, right? I don't think anybody is going to have any sort of detriment by taking their fucking multivitamins and fish oil and creatine. So that's the plan for me. Uh, you know what I'm thinking about? School is on the horizon. I'm gonna try not to think about that. Let's just enjoy the last few weeks of summer. So, hope you guys have a good lift. I will see you next time.